time. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it through the week. If you can love me, you can hate me. 455 45 The Mediator, going once, going twice, sold to the city and everybody across the United States to listen. If you want to stream in, if you want to hear my lovely voice, you can stream in. If you cannot, if the radio station is not clear, you can go to www.600wsom.com. You can also check us out during the week on the website www.method8inc.com if you want to catch up on the top 8 stories that made it throughout the week. Now, these top 8 stories, folks, let me read the disclaimer, are only documented for records and to highlight topics for those in the business of talk radio, talk media, and those who just want to stay informed. Like I said, if you want to go check us out, if you want to show some support during the show in any way, you can go to method8inc.com and you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something or sponsor a program. Now let's get to the top 8 stories that made it into the media this week. Stories for love, stories for excitement, stories for justice. Story number 1, the hacking issue. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not aware, there is a hacking problem, a big hacking problem going on across the world right now, not just in the United States. Do you know that there are 23 states that hold voting machines that have hacking flaws? It may be even more. And some people are worried about the results of the midterm elections because of this hacking problem. And it is a lot going on in just technology. If you do not know, the machine M650 is on the radar because the paper ballots can be audited and remotely hacked. That is a report that made it to number 1. And also they say that the smart cards in the AccuVote TSX are no exception because they can also be reprogrammed using your cell phones because of the smart cards. So this is big. The hacking issue it made it into the top 8 stories because not only is the voting machines being under fire and under the radar, but Facebook once again popped up in the headlines. I mean, this guy Mark Zuckerberg has been going through it in the last year or two. Not only just with the election problems, but people hacking Facebook. Over the week, there was a report that circulated that 50 million user accounts were affected in a huge security breach at Facebook. And once again, Mark Zuckerberg will be in the hot seat because of his company that he founded. I mean, Facebook. When you talk about computers and just the fact of people's data online, there's some other stories that made it into the top 8 that are connected to this one. People are just, you're putting that data in hopes and prayers that the company that you're putting the data in, you're putting your information, where you live at, who you love, your pictures, and what you're going to find out eventually as these stories progress and develop even more, especially around political season and who's trying to get a job. When you talk about regulation, it is all of this year, stories about technology have been in the headlines. So I don't see this story number 1, the hacking issue, going anywhere. This is probably going to keep creeping in and out, and people are going to be holding their breath because no one wants any type of election meddling going on. When you have, if you got to think of how important this story may become, because if another country can interfere with another, especially in a democracy's election, and try to get a candidate elected or try to interfere, this is big, folks. And I don't see this story going anywhere anytime soon. The hacking issue, the more technology we get, the more we put our information in, the more we got to get schooled on what's actually going on in the online market. When you got guys putting a ransom on a fake, I actually think he threatened to delete this guy. Yeah, he threatened to delete Zuckerberg's account at a specific time. I think it was like 6 o'clock on Sunday. I don't know how I found this story, and the ins and outs of it is kind of scary because I mean, anybody who deals with coding and computer programming and building websites, they know that once you put that information in there, people can they can steal your identity. The big thing is they have places where you can save your, and like they have credit places where you can have them monitor your identity to make sure nobody opens up any accounts. So that story number one will probably stay in the news for quite a while. If you want to show us some support, you can go to METHOD the number 8 inc.com. That's method8inc.com, and you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Or you can sponsor a program. We are the Independence Art Company at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio. In the business of theater, media, videos, movies, music, publishing, consulting, business consulting, marketing consultants, event planning, photographer, videography, modeling, web consultants, the high-tech stuff, performing arts. I try my best to do the best I can. Like I said, we try to do things ethically. Some people are still offended by a lot of language, so we try to stay in the middle, or stay on the right. And if there's a program going on. I guess they're having a theater show at Fairview Outreach Center, also known as Top Hat. They will be showing Little Shop of Horrors. It will be directed by Emma Wazen. It opens up Friday, October 12th, and runs October 13th, 19th, 20th, 26th, and 27th. Tickets are available at www.tophatproductions.org. They are located at 4220 Youngstown Poland Road in Youngstown, Ohio. And actually Struthers too. So if you want to, like I said, if you want to show some support, go to METHOD the number 8 inc.com. You are in the Mediator with me, Brian West. If you want to also sponsor us, or you can also go to the sponsors page, or if you want to look at the stories that almost made it into the top 8, you can also go to the website, look at our Twitter feed, and you can look at all the stories that almost made it into the top 8. You can like them, you can comment, you can even add stories of what's going on. Let's get to story number 2. Big story. Story number 2, keeping an eye on the healthcare agenda. Now, when I say agenda, that's a big word. Now, if you do not know, we are far beyond where we were years ago when it comes to healthcare. I mean, when you talk about balancing people's pH, when you talk about doctor's visits, emergency, but some people are still touting out the fact that when it comes to human beings being able to afford or taking care of themselves, we still have a problem. It's almost like eating fruits and vegetables rather than eating candy and smoking and getting drunk. So there's a health risk, and people, the unique thing about this healthcare agenda story is the fact that what people are saying in here is that the doctor basically says, if you follow my instructions, then I can prevent you from doing this. Mainly like if you exercise, you eat right, then there's a good chance that you won't have to suffer the wrath of surgery, medications. But this is a real issue, and this is why this story bumped up to number 2, because they say that this generation, the way that we eat, the amount of food and everything that we eat is becoming a problem for the next generation, and then this generation as well. Now the baby boomers and all of the other people are slowly going off into the afterlife. But there's also an issue with the story that made it in, is talking about medical bills and the fact that people are not keeping an eye on their insurance policies. And the healthcare issue, the reason why this is probably, it's going to creep its way into the news eventually, especially during election season. I see this story staying into the news because of the fact that people are, when you prioritize health, I have to practice what I'm preaching, because people who practice staying healthy often see results. And what they're saying, what this story basically covers, is the fact that people are not keeping an eye or reading what their insurance covers. And when people have to go in, and there's also other things in the stories that talks about how hospital bills sometimes make mistakes on people's healthcare bills, and they don't and you as the patient, not only do you have to be concerned about what the doctor is giving you, but you also have to be concerned about what they're doing inside of the facility when you're being treated, because there's been some reports that are saying that hospitals have been making mistakes on the bills when people are getting treated or seeking treatment. So, and some people don't even know how to play with the market now. And you see this, you'll probably see this healthcare creeping in and out of the topics of some candidates, because of the fact that when people are seeking treatment, some people don't know that they can price shop. You can price shop in this new market. I think the Trump administration was basically saying let Obamacare collapse and replacing it and repeal it, but they're still trying to repeal some things like making healthcare mandatory, or getting a tax penalty if you don't have insurance. So this topic, this story probably will stay in the news because of there's still this, no matter how perfect they try to make the system, it will, this story probably will stay in the news. Now there's also some other things that are going on in the drug market, and people who don't understand why should people have to pay so much to be treated. I mean, you're talking about, but this is what makes this story so unique, and the reason why this story will probably stay in the news. Now they're saying that drug makers are using the patent market now to lock in prices, and I guess they're trying to use it to block competitors from making generic brands. This is what will make this story stay or pop up even more. And there's even, if you take your eye on the health off of the healthcare the system period, there's even stories that have popped up about remission penalties, basically how the doctors accept patients. If you don't know, sometimes patients can be turned away, but they're saying that they're trying to ease them. Some hospitals are easing them a little bit, and allowing more people to be cared for. And if this is a field that you want to get your children in, there's always a need for it. And I mean, but people just have to keep in mind that you do have a choice on a medical facility and how to be treated. You do have a choice. There are some issues that are coming up that may shine more light on this story. If nobody's ever heard of the Manhattan Project, this story leaked into the news, and they were talking about nuclear waste is not only a health issue, but the EPA plans a much awaited cleanup of the Manhattan Project. The damage has already been done. If you've ever been around nuclear waste or been affected, and you've had rashes, nosebleeds, and even headaches, and you may not know or be aware of the effects of nuclear waste, just radiation in general. This is why this story will remain unique. Now, if you do not know, there was a headline that surfaced. It was the president. He was making a joke about how he fell in love with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Now, you're talking about a poor country who is using nuclear weapons to threaten and bully their way into the market. But it's not. What people don't understand, people in the citizens, some citizens of North Korea are not stupid. They don't understand. You may see celebrations and big caviars on TV with these people believing that everything is fine and dandy, but there's some stuff going on in reality when the TVs are turned off. Folks, these people have been tortured, babies ripped. I mean, this is a brutal regime, and what some of the people don't understand is they're talking about fairness here. I mean, we're sitting up here and we're buddy up with the guy killed his brother. This is not somebody who's on the playground building sandcastles. He's smothering people with sand, folks. So this is what makes this story so unique when you talk about nuclear weapons, and how the fact is those people have radio. When you're dealing with this substance, it's hard to get rid of it. And you have all these dictators, even big-time people, trying to get into the nuclear business. This is a health issue on a global world scale. If you do, even in Hiroshima, when they dropped the bomb, there's still radioactive material in the air. This is why the healthcare issue and the healthcare agenda will remain in the news, because there's some people on the front line who are even looking at the pollution debate. In the midterms, I can guarantee this will be a hot topic. And there won't be any jokes about it. There's going to be data. There's going to be respiratory infections. There was even there's a story that made the local news where there's some milky substance floating in Mercury Park's water system, or their streams right now. This is probably a big story. It's only at number 2, but as we get closer and closer, and people are trying to get a job, there's probably going to be more revealed, folks, because the people pushing for big business, not just big business, but lack of regulation. If you slack off and you start wondering why your baby has respiratory problems, why women are smoking themselves to insanity, they can't stop smoking, there's addictive things in nicotine. They're even talking about teens are not only smoking cannabis, but they're eating and vaping it as well. I mean, what have we become, folks? Oh, God, mediation is tough. Mediation is real. I'm going to wipe the sweat off me, because it's getting hot in here in this facility. Now, the big issue is health and taking care of your body. This is the main reason why most Americans are refusing to pay for other people's bad habits in a democracy. Oh, God. Well, like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, help me out. I mean, I'm coming in. I'm doing what's right, folks. I'm trying to do it the right way. But mediation is tough. I mean, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. METHO8, the number, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. Method at INC.com, where you can sponsor a program, you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. The Independence Art Company, in the business of theater, media, videos, movies, music, publishing consultants, business consultants, marketing consultants, event planners, photography, videography, modeling, web consultants, and performing arts specialists. I don't mean to hurt nobody. All I do is stay in the middle and try to shoot a little bit here and shoot a little bit of love there. I love the world. I love everybody. I want to live a long life, but there's some injustice going on across the world sometimes, in the media has to reveal the truth, and sometimes you may be cheering for a hero later on, and then later on in the day you may find out that hero could be plotting on your next meal. If you don't believe me, let me call up Crosby. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. There, they have a show going on at the Fairview Outreach Center, also known as Top Hat. They will be showing Little Shop of Horrors. If you're into community theater, big thing. It provides a pathway for a lot of people. It is directed by Emma Wazen. It opens up on Friday, October 12th, and runs October 13th, 19th, 20th, 26th, and 27th. Tickets are available at www.tophatproductions.org. They're located at 4220 Youngstown Poland Road in Youngstown, Ohio, also known as Struthers. Now let's get to story number 3. Story number 3. What role will the FBI play in the midterms? Now, the FBI has been in a lot of headlines, and there's also a report that the FBI has reported a decrease in the crime rate since Donald Trump's first year in office. So there's some good news in this story, but the FBI is playing a big role, not only just in now, but they will play a big role in the midterms, because of the fact that Sessions also credits an executive order pairing the FBI with local law enforcement. They say that that's one of the reasons why the FBI has been such a big impact in this new ball game, especially when you've got a president. I mean, Donald Trump is hardcore, man, but he's on a path of no return, creating a lot of enemies and a lot of people who are starting to feel this movement of the Trump effect. But there's still a lot going on, because they're saying that even though crime is falling, the number of Americans incarcerated is still increasing, and that's a fact. And we also have the Kavanaugh problem. They're saying that they should perform an investigation first. So if you don't know the big picture, I was talking about this to somebody about how the FBI is like an exterminator harboring around a beehive in Washington, and nobody wants to get stung, but there is just so much activity going on in Washington, and people are fighting for legislation. They're fighting for power, and when you have a story like what's happening with Brett Kavanaugh, and you look at the fact that this is the timing of this around election season. This is by if you don't start understanding, if this is not a conspiracy right now, the timing, if you and the fact that you've got a lot of uninformed voters out there and people who have no clue what's going on, and you may be sitting up there, oh my God, Obama, Bill Clinton, Trump, that's my boy, dog. That's my boy. But when you start actually researching and doing some research on some of these people's past and some of their history, I got nothing against these political officials. I just, as a veteran, and you start playing the ball game, and when you're on the battlefield, you when you find out about the officer position in general. That's a rough field. I mean, there's some people out there who think everybody's like showing them some love, and but when it comes to that voting and getting that job and being in a powerful position, there's a lot of that's a dirty ball game, folks. I mean, I don't. I'm going to remain independent. I vote and I'll try to hope for the best, but that's a dirty ball game. I would hate to be cleaning the toilets in the White House. I really would. Now, if you want to show some support, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. That's method8inc.com. As Barry White was said, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. Show us some love. Buy something, watch something, or just read something. You can also click on something to show us some support. Or you can sponsor a program. We are in the business of theater, media, videos, movies, music, publishing consultants, business consultants, marketing consultants, and event planners, photography, videography, modeling, web consultants, and performing arts specialists. You are in the mediator with me, Brian West, Big D. And if you want to, like I said, if you want to go to the website, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, you can go there. You can see some of the stories that almost made it into the mediator this week, some of that almost made it into the top 80. You can also like some stories. You can share your own stories on our Twitter feed. And you can also, there's so much to do on the website in general. You can, if you want to just sponsor a program, or if you got something going on in the community, or if you want to go, if you can't get to the show today and you want to hear it later on down the week, I usually upload it at the end of the day. If you can't hear the radio, if the radio signal is foggy, you can also tune in at www.600wsom.com. Now it's time to get to story number 4. We're almost at the halfway point. Story number 4: the homeless, poverty / lack of money issue. This is a big story because no matter how wealthy and how rich Americans get, even the world, if the world had a lot of money, there still seems to be a lot of people who are poor. Do you know there was a story that surfaced that a Florida woman stuffed her dog into a trash bin? She claimed that she could not afford to take care of him. The dog later died and the owner was charged and released from jail on a $1,000 bond. Folks, poverty is real. Back in the day when women could not afford their children, they were aborting them, throwing them in trash cans, and they are still doing that. This poverty and homeless and lack of money issue, this is a big story, and it still will remain a big story. Even though you did not know, Martin Luther King was not only he was not only a big civil rights activist, he was also an advocate to end poverty. A lot of civil rights leaders, even activists today, they just had some big global event I was hearing about on some channel. I'm not a big globalist. Like I said, I try to stay as independent as possible. If you can make it yourself, if you can do it yourself, try your best. You don't have to blame anybody for their mistakes, you know. But this homeless issue, this is a big thing. They had a outdoor storage container. I guess it was there for clothing items for the poor, and the state of Denver had to remove them because they found out that homeless people were living in them. That's bad, you know. This is a wealthy place. I mean, I don't. What people can't seem to understand, you got all these billionaires. You got Shark Tanks and the homeless issue, being poor is a big thing. There's some intelligent poor people. There's some people who just fell out of luck, and if it the United States, just like most countries right now, are operating off of the credit system. The FICO score was introduced. It was first introduced in 1989, and there are people who have earned their stripes who just cannot. Even myself. I mean, to maintain a perfect score in the FICO system is so hard to do because you always have to borrow to keep up, and the cost of living increases all the time. Being a vet, and there's no mercy in the credit world. If I were not lying to you, I'm a victim. But the credit system does not favor those who don't have money. And you can be the beautifulest girl in the world, if you don't have good credit, there's a chance that you will be living in someone else's bedroom, trying to get by. This is why, as we get closer and people are trying to reorganize the system, because there's people with college loans, they've defaulted on their debt, they have no job. There's people spending money in places where they don't need to be spending money. But the debt system and the people and the lack of money, the poverty system and the homeless crisis, that's a big thing, and it has a lot to do with the credit rating system. And people, you can become poor in the blink of an eye in this system. I've seen the stories. If I didn't see the stories, folks, you can be living the high life. Somebody can get cancer, and somebody you love. You can lose 50 grand in less than a day. You can be a big pop star, just got a hit, have $1 million in the bank. Somebody can sue you. This is how this system is structured. And once you get that big, you can't go back to the normal life, because everybody's going to want to be around you. They want to know this. So this is why this story, the homeless poverty / lack of money issue, will stay. Now, when you live in a system like this, it's that's what it is. Some people blame other people's bad habits because they can't get ahead. Some people have people they're living with who like to smoke. Every pack of cigarettes costing like $7. And then then somebody around you, ship is sinking. The next thing you know, they're calling you to borrow money that you do not have. You love them dearly. You don't want them to be out on the street. This is going to be a hot topic. There's all this BS going on in the news right now, but when you get down to the real issues and what really journalism may be needing to discuss, I see this story snake. That's why I got bumped up to number 4. Even the fact that people's rent is increasing. There was a bill, I think it was back in the 1990s. It was called Proposition 10. I think it was Costa-Hawkins. There was the Costa-Hawkins Act. And this was, I think, there's a big homeless issue going on in California. But it prohibits rent control in most places built after the 1970s. Rent control is when the government basically tells, I guess that's when there has to be, when the people who have property, I guess there has to be an amount that they have to charge for rent. So this story, number 4, this is big, folks, because poverty, homelessness, and when you've got people trying to talk about how they're trying to end poverty and save the world, and everybody's eating cotton candy and spending money, and you got poor people talking, just falling into the big emotional love thing. But the real fact is that money plays a big part in capitalism. This story probably will remain in the news. We are at the halfway point, folks, and I'm just taking off my warm-ups. I'm ready for the game. Put me back in, coach. I'm ready for mediation. Yes, mediation is tough, but somebody's got to be chosen. As a child, I was lifted up from the womb and braced it up against the sun to shine light in a world of darkness with mediation. Woo! Do you smell what the mediator is cooking? If you want to contribute in any way, you can go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method8inc.com. The independent arts company in the business of theater, media, videos, movies, music, publishing consultants, business consultants, marketing consultants, event planners, photography, videography, modeling, web consultants, and performing artists. I got a lot of news for a lot of folks, and boy, do I got a story for you. Let's get to story number 5 as we approach that. We're 5 minutes past the halfway point, and I am burning through mediation. Hallelujah. Story number 5. Why marriage eased back into the discussion. Folks, if you do not know, you may have a child, but this story number 5 eased its way up to number 5 because of the fact that marriage is still a hot topic. You may have a child, you may have a teenager, you may have somebody who fell in love, and the topic of marriage has come into the discussion. Some say you jumping in too early. The wise old wisdom thinker would probably say, boy, you better go out and smell the roses. But a lot of people are choosing to stay single because of all the baggage that comes with marriage. But lasting marriages are actually on the rise, folks. Yes, they're saying that the millennials, they are starting to come to the table, and divorce is actually low with the millennials. Yes, this is an interesting story because of the system, the way it's structured. I guess people are choosing to do it the right way. They say that because of men, they don't want to fall by the wayside because of the justice system, and they don't want to put up. Some men don't want to put up with the marriage, or just the fact some men are choosing to get married with the girl that they have a child with, or if somebody gets pregnant or something. But some people, they just can't escape. They don't want to pay child support. So this story is kind of it's up and down. I think it depends on the culture, the what's going on. And I guess some people are choosing to stick it out. Now, I think in the Bible's interpretation of marriage, it says it's a good thing. I think the Apostle Paul said that some people, it may not be the right thing, marriage, but some people, you may want to stay single, but if you can't contain yourself to get married. But this marriage stayed in the news. It leaked its way back in. It's not really a big story, but the reason why it's so big is because of the culture shift that people are starting to see. Like, they're starting to see all of these discussions about rape, womenizing. So some people are choosing to go the right way, especially when you have people, most men who have such access to things like pornography. Most men want to mate now. They want and plus finding one partner is like, that's pretty good because it's safe sex. You don't have to deal with all of the craziness. But some people are choosing this marriage thing because of the fact that they don't want to be alone, and they know what's out there. Once you get in a marriage and somebody cheats, then you're back on the market. It's hard to find that right mate. So this marriage story it's a very sentimental story, and it's you could be, I always like to. Sometimes I come across a Sweat Hotel. It's like an R&B show, and you have women. They'll call in and say, "Well, I just want to talk about my husband, and I did some bad things, and I wonder if I should tell him." And then you may have Keith Sweat host that was, "Baby, you may need to tell him that you love him, and just see if he'll forgive you. If he don't, then I wish you the best, baby." But this marriage issue, this is why this is such a big story, because people are still dipping their head in the sand and trying to go play in the other pool with somebody else, but they're finding out the hard way that they may have messed up on a good thing. And this marriage is a lifelong lesson. This story, this marriage thing, is easing its way back into the discussion. And adultery, did you know, is no longer a crime in India. So there's some pros and cons going on in this marriage debate, this marriage thing. And right now, men are starting to actually they're starting to see the big picture. It's when they see two of the same, no offense to gays or whatever, but when you see two people of the same sex outdoing you, some men are saying, "Hey, wait a minute, I want to do this right. I don't want to become a statistic." And then some of these guys are starting to see that their significant other is playing hardball. She's doing some crazy things. So this marriage story, it eases its way up to number 5, but it may stay in the news. If you want to contribute in any way, you can go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, Method8Inc.com. If you want to show us some love, you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. You want to stop by the office, I'm there from 5648 Market Street. In Boardman, Ohio. I'm there from 10 to 6 Monday through Friday. I'm in the business of theater, media, videos, movies, music, publishing consultants, business consultants, marketing consultants, event planners, photography, videography, modeling, web consultants, and even you can call me a performing arts specialist. I try to coach people and do the right thing. We don't accept some things, but we try to stay on the right path. So we try to do things the right way. So some material we can't work with, but I will try to steer you in the right direction. There is a show playing it's called Little Shop of Horrors. I guess the Top Hat will be opening up their season. It is directed by Emma Watson. It opens up Friday, October 12th and runs October 13th, 19th, 20th, 26th, and 27th. Tickets are available at www.tophatproductions.org. They are located at 4220 Youngstown Poland Road. And if you want to show them some support, you can go out and check them out. A lot going on in the news as we continue to move along. We are going into story number 6. But before we go into story number 6, I want you to continue to look around you. And when you look around you in life, there's a reality that starts to set in. And when you don't have much, if the people that you have been around your entire life are still around you, then they must be meant to be around you. Because if you do not know, story number 6 is we cannot forget that America and Americans have a debt problem. Yes, we are still in debt. No matter how much fun we have, no matter how much we on the verge of thinking that we are great, we still have to pay the bills. Now, there is a sign owned by a wealthy family in New York. They are reminding. They keep this sign up, and every year it goes up. I don't even think it's went down. I think in one administration. I think it was the Clinton administration. I don't know how. You'd have to fact check me on that one. But it even includes the Trump administration, that America has a spending problem. This sign is there, and it shows you the debt that this country has every year. During the Great Depression, they passed a lot of laws, took us off the gold standards, and next thing you know, we were printing out money like crazy, printing out money and started building. I think that's how the place of New York got built. But some people, some wealthy people say that the only way out of this is to tax the rich. Now, this is wealthy people. This is a report. I'm not saying this myself, but some people feel like the only way out of this debt problem is to tax the rich. They feel like that's the only solution. And that's why story number 6 will be when we approach the midterms, people are talking about the bills. And if you see people spending money in an economy, and you don't know where that money's coming from, if everybody thinks that everything is free, or thinking that they can just somebody's paying for it, folks. And this is a big story. It did not make it to the top 2 stories, but if this continues to be ignored, does the true spirit. Democracy is a big thing because it's a great idea. The idea of freedom, the idea of people to be able to share their ideas and build off not only entrepreneurship, but to build off to have a place where people can come and gain citizenship and become free into society. This is a big story because of the fact that in America you can loan money, you can borrow money. I've had some financial woes in my own life. Some people have to file for bankruptcy. Some people try to maintain a perfect life, but they may fall into a jam. It happens to the rich, the wealthy. Some people are just in la la land, and they don't know anything about money. They don't know where it's coming from. Some people take a government paycheck. Some people work their 9 to 5 their entire life and never know that they're investing their time into a business and they need to be paid. So the American debt problem is cannot be forgotten, and we've got some high rollers in Washington right now. I mean, there's a lot of drama and a lot of cutthroat politics, a lot of scandals going on, but at the end of the day, somebody's going to have to pay up, and there's a lot of lives that get sacrificed in war, especially when you have loot, and other nations want that loot, and they want that powerful position. So keep out for story number 6. It is a stinger. I'm telling you right now, if you're at a big party and you see the head of the party walking in and out, shaking, there's a good chance that he doesn't have the money to pay up, and everybody's had a good time, and that giving box was not as friendly. So this story may stay in the news. Now let's get to the top 8 stories that made it into the media this week, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I try to be specific. Ladies and gentlemen, the top 8 stories. Story number 7. Well, first, let me show you how to show us some support. If you want to show us some support or show us some love, you're in the media with me, Brian West. You can go to METHOD, the number 8INC.com. That's method8INC.com. You can buy something, watch something, click something, or just read something. The Independence Arts Company. We're in the business of theater, media, videos, movies, music, publishing consultants, business consultants, marketing consultants, event planners, photography, videography, modeling, web consultants, and performing arts specialists. We are a network of talented individuals, just people just coming to show what they can do for the world, a for-profit company, but for the greater good off of its mission statement. It's been like that for 12 years since I've been at the realm. And they also have a show going on at the Fairview Outreach Center in Struthers, or Youngstown, Ohio, whatever one you want to call it. I believe it's Struthers, but they call it Youngstown too. They will be showing at Top Hat Productions. They will be showing Little Shop of Horrors, and is directed by Emma Wazin. Opens Friday, October 12th, and runs October 13th, 19th, 20th, 26th, and 27th. If you want more information or want tickets, you can go to www.tophatproductions.org. They're located at 4220 Youngstown Poland Road in Youngstown, Struthers, Ohio. Now let's get to the top 2 stories that made it into the Mediator this week. Has technology changed, or is it changing human behavior? Folks, there was a headline that reached into the news. There was a baby that was crawling across the street. Someone took a picture. This baby was crawling across the street, and someone took a picture and put it on social media. Now, some may see the problem of the baby walking across the street, but there's another problem, is that you presented it to the world once you put it on the World Wide Web. That means everybody has a potential of seeing something that you just saw with the naked eye. There's also some things that are going on in technology where you have a situation, a one-on-one situation between cops and robbers, or cops and people just getting pulled over, and a cop pulls out a gun, or a person inside the vehicle pulls out a gun, and somebody catches it on video and posts it for the world to see, and everybody thinks that somebody is the enemy. Folks, technology has changed a lot of things. Years ago, people could not upload things to a server, bounce off a satellite, come into the computer, and see it right on TV. People could not see women like Stormy Daniels, flaunting and shaking it, doing the doo-wop in front of the computer. Wow, somebody else is in the room. Folks, technology has changed everything. You can Google the name now of Stormy Daniels, and you may get a big surprise. I tried it. I do it all the time, Googling things. And sometimes I see things, folks, and I sit up and I touch myself. But no. It was a song back in the 80s called I Touch Myself, and I hope and pray that it does not become too bad of a habit. But that's what people do when they see things. It's rated R, but PG if you put it in your brain and try to filter it out and do the right thing and just click on something else. But that is the age that we're in. It's reality. I may be joking and maybe laughing on the inside, but it is a reality. Folks, you can Google and you can search anything. There are some sites that are secure there, and you can be on Facebook, you can be on any page. You may see a baby sitting in a gutter. You may see a baby walking across the street. There are some crazy things online. This was not the case years ago. They were just regulating TV and radio, but now, folks, times have changed. That rated R symbol is not what it used to be. Oh yeah. There's also some good things going on in technology, though. I don't want to weigh all the way the bad, but when I seen, I was Googling some stuff, and I'm telling you, you get to the last few pages, and it's tempting, and it'll give you some type of a stimulation, and you'll be ready for the big game. Google, Microsoft, and Amazon are linking up to use artificial intelligence to track famine. So they're trying to link up to basically use the technology for good. We are almost down to the final story, but let me finish this one up. They will be using tools, everything. This story has a lot to do with the final story because there's human trafficking that is going on in online as well, and cell phone usage. They're trying to ban it in some countries because people are getting in accidents. There's bank frauds that are being performed online, fraudulent data. There's a woman who got her information stolen in Detroit. This man was sending her fake checks. She thought she was getting a loan. She was looking for a loan to pay off her debt. Folks, this technology boom has changed a lot of things. Now you've got people stealing people's information, military using 3D printing, and they're building barriers. There's some good and there's some downs, but when it comes to government trying to maintain, keep its people in control, this technology story, that's why I got bumped up to number 7, and it was almost at number 8, but you'll see why it didn't get to number 8. But story number 7 is keep an eye on how technology. There's even some stories about they're talking about the cognitive functions of children, how they've changed because of if you keep them in front of the screen too long, their ability to function changes as they grow. So I'm a big tech. I was a tech prep. I've been a tech prep all my life, but they're saying this is I don't think that anybody who created or who were the pioneers of advancing technology, I don't think they meant for anything wrong to go. I think they meant it for everything to be used good. But this story, I mean, this is going to stay in the news. I meant no harm by the Google jokes, but I'm telling you right now, if you find something, if you're alone in your home one night and you start and you put in somebody, it could be anything. You get to you could see some things, and it's a part of life. There's nudity in English. There's nudity in literature, but like I said, when you see somebody a big time porno star and into it with the politics, and you Google her name and you're trying to find out who she is, ladies and gentlemen, you may be in for a big surprise. Now let's get to the top 8 story that made it into the media this week. Story number 8. And story number 8 only made it in because there's a big thing going on between males and females right now. And there's a party, there's people crying help. But the real issue is that sex trafficking is a real problem. And it is not only a problem in the United States, but it's a problem across the world. Men and women are abused. And when you're talking about sexual misconduct between men and women, then the sex trafficking issue is there. If you do not know, sexual predators, they breed young people into the business. This is a big. That's why I was joking so much about in story number 7. But sex trafficking is a real problem, and we all are victims. Even myself. We all can even become prey. We all can become victims. When you see women come forth in odd times, we wonder about conspiracies. We wonder about the timing, why they do it, why were they there, why were they in the room, why would they even put themselves in the position. But they may act innocent, but folks, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not perfect. No man is perfect. If any man tells you that when he was he wasn't a horny little thing or a horny little snake man, or even a female, these females, I have no problem with them. But I'm a victim. So being a victim, if I didn't see it for myself, there's some things going on out there. And some of these people, they will sit up there and they will paint a rosy picture of them. If they are holy, folks, this thing is real. People have a sex problem. There's been some stories about men who have placed chips in their girlfriends, women who have stalked men. I mean, when you talk about those raging wolves and those emotions, this is a real deal. Anyone sold into this market for someone else's pleasure unknowingly is a victim. Sex trafficking and even sexual behavior, when it gets like the Crosby story, or if it makes mainstream, some of you may look at it as just like, oh, that's a shame. But I'm telling you, folks, this is a freaky world. and people do some freaky things. And there are some people who have not been brought to justice. Everybody in America has been a part of this. I think everybody in the world. There's some big things going on. And when it comes to that second nature, I don't see this story falling out of the news because sex trafficking, even sexual misconduct, is a big thing. It is a big thing, and we see these stories. We see these stories popping up with Kavanaugh, Crosby, Judge Clarence Thomas. I believe he's a judge. And you got Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky. You got old time people talking about sex, and you got prostitutes. You got pimps, some people who think it's a prime time business, women getting abused, men getting abused. I mean, you got all of this. Sometimes some people say, well, just keep it out, but this is a big story, and it's going to stay in the news. It really is, because of the fact that it's real. It is a real big problem, and those who have been, even when you talk about the Catholic Church, sexual predators are out there. Some men grow out of it. I was fortunate enough. I mean, we as men all have the rage and want to release but there's this sex problem is coming to the light, and some people are looking up, and they're putting their voice in the battle, and they're saying that I've been a victim. There's been guys, even girls, by these priests, and they're starting to come forward. Some local stories that made it into the Mediator were they're shining light on suicide, and I guess that was a hot topic during the week. Nearly 3,000 people took part in the suicide prevention walk. There was a milky substance that leaked into Mill Creek Park's streams. I guess it was seen at the Bears Den Run stream. I guess it's said to have come from an Austintown foundry. This was 250 gallons of sodium hydroxide. So that story is emerging locally. There was also more drug busts in the valley. Police performing a normal traffic stop. I guess they found almost 700 painkillers and cash and guns in a car. Thank you. Like I said, we're 3 minutes left in mediation. In the Mediator, if you want to contribute any way to our show, to our calls, to our network, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method 8, INC.com. You can buy something, click on something, watch something, or read something. I give you the top 8 stories that made it throughout the week. Try to stay occupied. So me too. Like I said, we all battle with things, but in a democracy, some of these stories may shock you, but they're real. I didn't make this stuff up. Yes, people are being trafficked, children being kidnapped. This is a real deal. We are the Independence Arts Company. If you want to see the show throughout the week, you can go to our website. I post the show. Usually takes a day, so usually up Monday, Lord willing. We're in the business of theater, media, videos, movies, music, publishing consultants, business consultants, marketing consultants, event planners, photography, videography, modeling, web consultants, and performing arts. The book of the month is G-Men. It's Hoover's, I guess, talks about popular culture and how the FBI became played a big role in stopping crime. The book is written by Richard Powers. If you have any books out there, like I said, go to our website, find a story that you may be into, find something that you may see, and like I said, it's always good to be active in the news, staying informed, and trying to figure out, sometimes you can't explain things, but when you see stories that bring things to light and make a natural conversation at the kitchen table, I believe there's a purpose for that. And if anything can do it, it's the news. Stay informed, especially now. We are headed into the midterms elections, and you're seeing things. Your children are seeing things, and people are trying to get your vote. And they're doing some things, and they're manipulating some things. And you may have to have some common sense thinking on, why is this person doing this? Why is she saying this? Why is this person screaming their heart out? Their reputation is about to be destroyed, their life. Some of these games that you see being played in the United States have been being played for a long time. Nothing is brand new. Nothing is new under the sun. And some people, those who do not confess their flaws, and like myself, if I claim to be perfect, I would not be a good fit for this program. But folks, I want to thank you for tuning in, and please, like I said, always try to show love to your fellow citizen, your fellow man, and don't forget that everybody deserves a chance in the world and in mediation. I want to thank you so much for tuning to the Mediator. Have an excellent week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to the Mediator with me, Brian West. Have a good week, everybody.
If you need help, then dial your operator. Have no fear, fellow citizen. The mediator is here.